Hi everyone, welcome to this edition of Addington News. Darren, brought to you outside Spectators Bar and Bistro, and gee, this place becomes a hive of activity, particularly on a rugby race night, and obviously when the rugby's on anyway, because a number of people use it to celebrate both pre and post.
Yeah, often open off obviously for the rugby, but a lot of the events that are over at the arena as well, concerts, netball, all of those sorts of things, and people pop in for a drink and bite to eat before they head off to their function or to the rugby. And hopefully we've got some extra games coming for the rugby coming up.
Might be looking that way, and that's the norm, isn't it, around this region anyway. Last Friday night, a super premier night, it really was. Turnover was great. The GBR was great. We had a couple of $70 winners, as we know, but the racing on the track was superb. Don't Stop Dream was too good in the Group 1, the Garrard Size Stakes, but the race of the night, without doubt, was the Hydroflow Country Cups final. And that's aside from Katie Cox becoming the Queen of Addington, as Michael Guerin has dubbed her. But the Country Cups final was superb, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was a good race. They went really quick. John Hay couldn't have driven a better race on Wheels of Fortune.
Yep.
And Mighty Louie did something that he's done a couple of times here, where he's just put the foot down and just kept going.
Yep.
He's got a lot of speed, lost a lot of ground at the start, but still managed to win the race. So, weird thing, isn't it? You get some $70 shots. It quite often happens on Cup Day.
Yep.
When those fields are really strong, some horses get the right run that suits them and they can come over the top and cause an upset, which happened a couple of times.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, great racing.
Yep, Superstar Legend was that other winner that paid the big money. Friday night, we've got some excellent stakes, and you know, the $15,000 maidens should be attracting more horses, but we've got them this week. We've got a $20,000 mares race. There's just some good money up at this time of year.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do. So we're trying to keep doing that, and we will for as long as we can do.
Yep.
Obviously funding is always an issue, but we want to try and make sure that works. With Woodland Stud in particular supporting our fillies and mares racing program, there's 3 fillies and mares races on the program.
Yep.
So look, good money across the board. That's what we're about, and trying to get that into the hands of the owners.
Yep, and we've got a big, bulky number of race meetings coming up here at Addington Raceway. We're pretty close to starting the Thursday or Friday, Sunday regime. The next 2 weeks are Thursday night meetings, and then we kick right into it in June and July, and even leaks into August.
Yep, and that's one of the things we're about, is trying to reduce the amount of time that people are spending travelling to race meetings at this time of the year, and trying to do it as efficiently as we can here. So yeah, we've got 9 of those in a row, and really looking forward to them. Talking to the events team today, there could be another special coming in and around those winter months, so watch for that.
All right, Katie Cox just had an enormous day or night out at Addington, winning her first ever group race as a trainer with It's Tough. Ray Reiki, if you get a chance to watch the box seat, you'll just see how over the moon he was out of his mare Cullen's Mercy, who won half a dozen races, and or 5 at least, and has left a number of winners too. But yeah, that was probably the most special win of the night, and of course she won also with Time Up the Hill.
Yeah, so look, before we go to the full meeting preview, we'll play that win of It's Tough, and as you say, excitement personified with Ray Reiki. Doesn't mind having a bet. Loves his racing, of course, was an amateur driver, trainer in his own right.
Yep.
And this mare, Cullen's Mercy, has really produced some very, very good horses. And he did say this one's the best, he thinks, and he said it's got a pretty good dad.
Yeah, it is.
Better to like. The other 2 horses did a good job as well. So good on them. They really enjoyed the night, and it was a really good run by that horse.
Yep.
So we'll let you have a look at Katie on the way out before we go to the preview.
A little silence, a half length away from Bronson, and then came Vegas Strip, and It's Tough. Major Hot the leader. A little silence, and It's Tough coming in at the outside. Major Hot, a little silence goes to it. It's Tough coming after a little silence. Bronson up the lane. It's Tough comes over the top, and It's Tough, and Katie Cox won the Welcome Stakes. It's Tough beat a little silence. Bronson ran 3rd, 4th in Major Hot, then Vegas Strip and Song Sung Blue.
Yeah, great win there by Katie. Let's get into a full meeting preview for Friday night. Minimum stakes 15,000, Greg, up to $20,000 stakes. So trying to keep those stakes up for everyone this time of the year, even though it's not a premier meeting. Race number 1 gets underway 5:18. IRT Your Horse Our Passion Mobile 1980.
Yeah, I thought it was a good chance for Get Back, Darren, to get back into winning form. She's actually quite a good mare, this. She's won the 4 races. It won't be easy from out there, but racing really well. Tim Williams takes the drive. He drove her last week, or 2 weeks ago it was, when a really solid third in behind Steph's Boy. Drops into a grade, I think, that's right up its alley. And, yeah, I reckon Get Back's a nice each-way prospect in the first. Gave Watermelon Sugar a good chance. It'll be one of the favourites. Forget about last run, go on the previous second. It was a really good run and wouldn't need to lift much off that. Mossdale Terry's in the right spot. He's going to jump straight off the arm here, get to the markers, potentially hand to the one he wants, or maybe not hand at all. So you've got to have him in. And Arden's Delight actually beat Millwood Indy, who's a race rival 2 starts back. Missed out last week, but is a bit better than that, or 2 weeks ago as well, I think that was. Maybe that other race was 3 weeks ago. Gee, there's been some good racing in Addington in recent times. It's a pretty even program, and the first race is indicative of that. I'll mark them 9, 11, 4 and 12.
Race number 2 starts the early quaddie, the Colin Steele Memorial Handicap Trot, a 2,000-metre event at 5:47. Greg and Colin was such an important part of the staff here at Addington Raceway. We're really delighted to be able to be remembering him at this time of the year with a race each year.
Yeah, Collie, a great bloke. Worked in the racing department for over a decade anyway, and just loved the sport. Loved having a bet, loved having a laugh. He'd enjoy a race like this because it's not an easy one for the punters, so he'd probably find a bit of value. But, yeah, it's great to have Collie's name associated with this race. And, yeah, he went way too soon, but we at least get this opportunity to recognise the date by having the Colin Steele Memorial. Good race. Not very often over a shorter course would I tip a horse off a mark, but I'm going to on this occasion, Darren. I'm actually going with Can't Do It Alone, who Steve McNally's had for a couple of runs now and it's gone cracking races in both of them. Michael Howard, his good mate, owns, and yeah, I reckon Can't Do It Alone can win this. So I'll go for it on top. That third last time was behind the Evergreen Take After Me last weekend. The run before that was here at Addington Raceway and was a really solid third on that occasion behind Emily. So Michael Howard has a bit to do with that one. So there's a bit of an association there. So I'll go for it on top. To beat Racy Cruiser, who's racing well. This one trained by Amber Letheby. She'll be doing the driving on the Son of Peak. Bet and Win. Oh, have a bow peek through the owners in this one. It might not be the odds that you could be looking for. It's trialled really nicely, though, so I wouldn't count it out. It's trained by David and Stacey White, and David will do the driving. And you've seen this card before where they bring a trotter to the races and have good success, so it won't be without a chance. And she's got sass. Roger Austin has Don Murrow in later on, produced it last week first up. This one he part owns along with his great mate JTB O'Flanagan, Johnny O'Flanagan. So, yeah, and it's got ability too, so I wouldn't count it out. 14, 11, 4 and 5.
Race number 3 is the Hydroflow Fillies and Mares Mobile Pace 1980, and this one is 6:16.
Yeah, we're going to see a couple of very smart maidens from Bob Butt's barn tonight and on Friday night, and Brilliant Lulu's one of those. You only need to go back to HRNZ and have a look at her rather latest trial, and she was really impressive. Like stretched out like a good horse. Raced by Graham Burns' Small Car World. So I think he's got another nice one here. So I'll go for it on top to beat Jones Rising Star, who has done nothing wrong. The daughter of Vincent, Paul Kerr, Tim Williams. It'll just keep on improving. Maria Alagonda, another placing at Ashburton last weekend, behind another of the Bob Butt fillies. And first up is Pandaya, who was ultra impressive and loved to play. I thought was pretty good last week in that Pandaya race as well. So I'll go 1, 5, 3 and 8 in the third. But the bit of format of this race, Darren, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Race number 4, Resure Insurance Advisors Mobile Trot 1980 at 6:45.
I keep thinking, well, has Bella Button had enough? But she hasn't really. She strung all those wins together. Then she was in some really difficult fields. I mean, she would only need to reproduce any of her last couple of runs to win this race. So I'm going to go for her on top, and I reckon she can win. So Bella Button, first pick ahead of Magic Dash, who's come back a bit stronger this time in for Regan Todd. Robbie Close drives again. Fourth here last week behind Jimmy Carter. This is a step back for mine, so I'd give it a really good chance. Just the draw is the tricky inside second row for it. TK Megastars racing well, and Robbie Holmes will give her every chance, and it's so easy. He's got a nice barrier draw to operate from too. Paige was great last week, but she'd need the pattern of the race to fall her way like it did last week at Ashburn. 6, 10, 5 and 3 in the fourth on the program.
Race 5 is the Fat Eddie's second autumn Fillies and Mares Sprint, a mobile 1980, 7:12.
Going to stop hearing how the Fillies and Mares don't get their opportunities, Darren, at some point. Here's another one. 8-horse field, punching around for 20K in May. I don't think there'll be too many complaining about that. The ones that should be complaining are the club, because there should be more there. Anyway, we'll go with Kikarangi Blue on top. She's got great gate speed. Bob Butt's back in the bike off the back of his back operation, and he's A-OK to drive again, which is cool. Dance Till Dawn, be interesting to see what happens here. Does Tim Williams try to adopt the John Dunn tactic of leading with her? I think Kikarangi Blue might get her for speed if he wants anyway, Bob. So I'll go for the 5 over the 3. Glory's Delight, Life's a Beach, both from the Tony Barron barn, always to be respected. You've got to respect Dancing Desire too. It's just a really good race. Superstar Legend might have something to say about the start of the race too after it upset them last week. But 5, 3, 6 and 7.
Race 6 is the third of our Fillies and Mares races on the night. The Woodland Stud Bionic Chance Bracelet, mobile 1980, 7:41, Greg. When I was a lot younger, Bionic Chance was a super mare, a lot of speed for Alistair Kerslake and Lindsay Kerslake, part owned by Alistair's wife and Frank Woolley. She was a great horse, electric speed when she came out, just a really exciting machine.
Yeah, look, I remember her winning the Breeders, driven then by the late Mike DeFilippi, and she just couldn't win. She just had absolutely no chance. She was still held up 100 metres off the post, and I think she won by a length going away. And she was 3 or 4 lengths off them at that point. Gee, she was fast. And she also, Darren, beat the boys as a 2-year-old in the Sire Stakes, which can't happen now because they separate them. But yeah, she was very, very good. And it's great to have her name with this race. And I'll tell you what, Peter Hunter's got a smart filly, Rakloo. First up, Diamond Creek down south. Great run, really good performance. I think it was the Diamond Creek anyway. It was an excellent run, and brought that to Rangiora Sat Park and just ran away and hid and beat Melody Banner and RDB Mickey, who are race rivals again. She's got a fair bit of scope to her, this horse. I really like her. I think she can win again. Melody Banner was good first up in that same race, as was RDB Mickey. I think Rakloo might just have the tractability to get the job done again. The other one, Sporty Miss, I gave it a top 4 chance, but 6, 1, 4 and 3, and good to have a Royal Bush trained runner back at Addington Raceway. Brings back those memories of the mighty Malaz.
Yeah, the Hunters have been coming here for a long time, Greg. They know what sort of horse they need to bring here, and good luck to them with this one. Race number 7 is the Sections by Gould's Mobile Pace 1980 at 8:11, part of the arrangement that we have with Phil Kennard and the team there, who look after the Graphite Developments Futurity race, of course, around Cup time, and they're going to be entertaining a lot of their clients and friends in the Silk Suite on Friday night, and we're wishing them a really good night. They've got a good race here. It's a small but select field, but yeah, it's an interesting contest, Greg.
Yeah, it is. Don Morrow, big improver off the back of last week's win. It's a step up again, but he's done nothing wrong. He's won 6 of his 12 starts. Roger Austin has always liked him, and he's produced it on the track so far. Will he get the front here? Well, I couldn't see any reason why they wouldn't try and get there anyway. Happy Place gets off the machine quickly, and Beach Ball's a noted front runner too. So be interesting early. I had them running numbers 5, 6, 7, but Darren, you could throw them up 3 or 4 times and land a different way, or 3 times anyway, and you'd find a different winner. So yeah, I'll go 5, 6, 7. Jimmy Ray's doing a great job for John Morrison. He was excellent last time when second and behind Jimmy James Maguire. Again, it's a step up, but he's racing really well. So yeah, 5, 6, 7, 3 for me.
Race number 8's the Fulks Investments Handicap Trot 2600, 836. Fulks Investments, of course, with the large sign on the old totalisator in front of the main grandstand here, Greg, a really prominent position for signage, and we welcome them as part of our sponsorship team here at the Raceway.
Yeah, we certainly do, and they've got themselves a good race here as well, because you know, wind it all the way back to the last horse in the field who took out the Hara de Trotters, Heather Williams Memorial last week, who named Time Up the Hill. It won't be easy for her this week, Darren. It's a fullish field, the 13 runners, and she has to come off 35 metres. So, yeah, it'll be a task for her. I've got her in the mix, but I haven't got her on top. I've actually got the Bloss on top. Off the front, you know where she'll be. She'll be 3 or 4 lengths in front of them. There's no one as quick off the stand as her. She'll just dash straight to the lead. And then the question for Brent Borkowski, who drives her with Sarah O'Reilly being in the north, what does he do? Does he try and stay there? Does he roll them along? Does he try and run a fast enough time, a better than 3:20, if you like, to be able to beat the back marker? Or does he hand up to someone who he hopes tries to do that as well, and he sits in the trail? So, yeah, I reckon an each-way ticket on the Bloss, who's been racing, the Time Up the Hills of this world, and I Dream of Genies in recent times, and gets into this race beautifully. She's 178,000, Darren, so she's not only gone past 100, she's owning in on 200,000. So I'll go for her on top, ahead of Time Up the Hill. Good chance to Jimmy Carter. He's found form, and he's been really solid lately, so no reason to think that he won't produce something decent again. And Miss Alyssa is so honest that you can never count her out. So I'll give her a chance too. But I'd have a ticket each way on the Bloss this week.
Race number 9, Air Park Canterbury Pace, a standing start, 9:03. And Greg, I just looked at the Tom Baggery horse in this race, owned by a posse of people plus 3 sets of syndicates. One of the people that contributed to Owners Night, and Tom's doing a really good job in putting those syndicates together to racehorses.
Yeah, exactly. And you expose them to it. They have a bit of fun, and hopefully they'll go again, or even might take a bigger share. Of course, he had group success with Walking on Sunshine at Auckland only a couple of weeks ago, and the Crack is raced trialled really nicely. So it's got a chance. I don't think it can beat Chase the Stars. There's a standing start. First up, Bob Butt trains and drives. Lovely horse down by the seaside. This plenty of scope and ability there. So I'll give him a good chance of, winning on debut. I thought Sweet Spirit had a chance. Had no chance at Ashburn when I got back last, but it still made up some decent ground. Rock and Roll Graduate from the John Hay team. He had a couple of seconds last week. He wouldn't have liked that, especially Wheels of Fortune, who was so brave in the Hydroflow Country Cups final. And Black Mac, or Mark, whichever way you want to go, long time away from the racetrack for the Tolliman Lodge team. I spoke to Sam Thornley on Trot's Talk on radio last Sunday, and he said he'd like to drive him with a sit. Well, it didn't eventuate, but he was still really brave in fourth. He derived plenty out of that, Darren, so I give him a good chance. And then Arnold Lane off the second row is not without a hope either. But I'll have them 2, 1, 6 and 9. But it's another maiden where the form going forward is well worth noting, because it's going to be worth following.
$15,000 maidens too, Greg, so good stake money for those horses. Race number 10, the First Direct Taxis Mobile Pace, 1980, normally our sponsor of the last race, and reminding those that are on course, if they've had a really good night, to make sure they're getting themselves home safely. First Direct Taxi is a great option. This race gets underway at 9:30.
Yeah, Bluto blotted his copybook last week. He'd been excellent in 3 runs today, a couple of wins, and then a brave third in that Rangiora 3-year-old race in behind Triple G, who went a slashing race in the size stakes final. So he had all the form to go well last week, but he didn't want to participate at the start. I'm sure he'll be on better behaviour this week. I hope so. And if he is, he might just be a little bit slick for this field. So I'll go for him on top. To beat Major Talk, who was heavily back last week and disappointed. Sat in the 1-1, never went past a horse. Don't know what to make of that. His previous run was really good, fourth in behind a Hoka Connor in the Southern Supremacy. So he should have been good enough. I'll give him a pass mark and say he hadn't had a run for a month. So, yeah, maybe. Was it a month? Don't even think it was that long. Close to a month. Anyway, he should be improved off it. We'll give him that. Classy Links Racing Super. And one of your old mates, Smokin' Annie, keeps on flashing light on top of the helmet. Wouldn't need to get too much luck from there to be in the finish either. I think Bluto's the best horse in it though, Darren, so I'll go for it on top.
That brings an end to the preview. Of course, we're going to go out with a video from last week. We've already had a look at Katie Cox celebrating her win with It's Tough, and of course she also won with Time Up the Hill. But this one was Korbyn Neuman's Time to Shine in the Country Cups final. Greggy really enjoyed this. The run of the horse was quite phenomenal given how much ground it lost. John Hay would be shaking his head because he couldn't have driven a better race. He managed to get beaten, which was quite incredible. But yeah, look, celebrating the young people involved in the industry. Korbyn's had a tough time with a hand injury in recent times. He's back driving now, and he really enjoyed this, Greg.
Yeah, he's a great bloke, and he's a handy driver too. And Robert, Jenna, and Johnny don't mind putting him on, and he loves this horse. He got his first Group 1 drive in South Coast Ardens. Jewel. Gee, I nearly forgot the name of them. We haven't had them for that long, Darren. But he's just a great bloke, and you could see what it meant to him as he hit the line.
Wheels of Fortune, the leader. Get Up and Dance, levelling up. Mighty Louis coming at them. Then came Better's Tart. Wheels of Fortune, Get Up and Dance, and Mighty Louis coming at him. Wheels of Fortune, Mighty Louis wide out, coming quickly. Mighty Louis, what a massive run. Mighty Louis won it. Mighty Louis by a length of the line beat Wheels of Fortune and Get Up and Dance. Fourth in Heisenberg, then came Better's Tart from See Ya Art. Next in Franco Norton. From Got You Covered, Bet West, He's a Sure Thing, Santana Mac, Homebush Lad, Art Attack, Cause I Can, Tom Martin and Jimmy Armour. Mighty Louis, would you believe, in a gigantic effort. He was back last a lap out. He circled them and won the Hydroflow Country Championship with a jubilant Korbyn Neuman.